Hi, I'm Emily Vrain and I'm a postdoc researcher at UEA and I'm based at the Tyndall Centre for Climate Change Research. For the past few years, I've been involved in a research project called SILCI, which has been investigating a wide range of digital innovations or technologies which are already available, which we as consumers can use in our everyday life, and that have the potential to help lower our carbon emissions. So in this short video, I'm going to briefly outline a vision of the future, which includes a set of these digital products that we've been researching. Now, this vision is one filled with smart home technologies. Now, one point to make is that many of the technologies I'm going to mention are already available on the market, and that this energy future is actually not that far from becoming a reality. I mean, the reason I say this is something has the potential to go mainstream if IKEA starts selling it. Now, I'm not talking about your smart speakers or your smart TVs, and I'm certainly not talking about your smartphones, although these certainly help keep everything connected. What I'm referring to is a future where our homes are filled with connected devices which help us to not only reduce our energy demand, but for the energy that we do use to make it more efficient. So I'm talking about technologies like smart heating systems, smart lighting, and smart appliances, so like washing machines or dishwashers. And they provide residents with the ability to access, to monitor and control the services that they provide. So even by remote, whilst sitting at work or whilst being away on holiday. Now, these capabilities, in addition to automation and adaptive learning, can result in smart home technologies offering great potential to lower CO2 emissions. I don't want to come across as being a smart home advert, but so just to outline in terms of the carbon emission reductions that they can offer, I would say there are at least three key avenues. So the first one being that they can directly reduce demand, so reducing standby consumption or by accidentally leaving lights on, this can be avoided while the house is unoccupied. Secondly, there's the potential for them to enable the whole energy system to be more effective by being integrated and managed. So meaning that energy can be used, can be turned on and off, can be stored and scheduled tasks to avoid peaks in energy demand, and therefore shifting what is known as peak load. So this is increasingly going to become important as energy supply is heavily going to become reliant upon more renewable sources. So if you imagine wind turbines and solar panels, there's much more energy supply during windy days or sunnier days. And so by having connected devices which can communicate with the national grid, there's much better potential for the whole energy system to become much more efficient and responsive. And so the third way I would say, and another benefit of smart home technologies, are that they can become a gateway technology for engaging consumers. So consumers can become more aware of their energy use, so increasing awareness. They provide data on how much, say, energy is used boiling the kettle, or having the heating on at 18 degrees rather than at 19 degrees. And so this type of technology can help raise awareness and just make us consumers as a whole much more engaged in how energy is used. So having outlined those three benefits and the potential that these smart home technologies offer as an energy future, so there's clearly benefits, and despite the fact that IKEA sells these types of products, at the moment only a very small percentage of people have them in their homes. So there are clearly barriers to their adoption. Some of the most obvious ones of market barriers are like cost or the perception that they're just too complicated technology. Or even some of us don't even know, don't even own a house. So, for example, if I'm renting for a year, I'm not going to invest in installing a smart energy heating system. So they're sort of some of the obvious barriers. There's also the quite frequently mentioned issue in the media about data privacy or the risk of being hacked. The BBC Panorama did a program a few years ago, in 2018, I believe, highlighting the potential dangers of people hacking into smart homes equipment and accessing, say, video footage of the inside of people's homes, so sort of knowing that they're away on holiday. So such issues are likely to act as barriers to adoption. But what's interesting is the research that I've been involved in has been looking much more at the social barriers to adoption of these types of technologies. So rather than looking at the actual product's attributes, what is it that might be barriers to people within a social structure? So there's one thing called social network analysis, which is looking at somebody's social network. And so how big is it? How many friends do they have, for example? Are those people in their social network very similar to themselves? Do they live far away? Are they very diverse? You can kind of imagine on your Facebook page and all your friends that you're connected with, thinking about how similar they are to yourselves. And so if you have a very diverse friendship group, you're much more likely to find out about new information rather than sort of having a very small cliquey group where the sort of flow of information would be much more similar and much more reduced. And so taking that into account, we did some research to look at the social networks of adopters of smart homes compared to those with people who have not got smart home technology, so non-adopters. And we looked at the differences and who do people talk with about smart tech? So how does information flow across society about these smart home technologies? And what we found, interestingly, was that people with smart home technologies are much more likely to just have wealthy, small social networks with whom they discuss their smart home technology. And that people who are non-adopters, so don't have smart home tech, they are less likely, much less likely to know anyone who has some technology. So this creates huge barriers in terms of the way that information from first-hand experience of adopters actually spreads throughout society. If people are only speaking amongst themselves in sort of wealthy groups, this information of kind of positive messages or recommendations isn't going to spread across society. So research such as the one that I've just mentioned can help make marketing and policy recommendations to sort of suggest ways or strategies that could help overcome such social barriers. You know, having smart open home days where people with smart tech could actually open up their doors and allow strangers or friends of friends to come and visit and experience firsthand how these technologies work and to see, are they actually that complicated? Or they could ask questions, is it maybe not that expensive? Is it worth it? And yeah, so that's kind of the research that I've been involved in with smart tech. And I've outlined what the benefits of these technologies are, and then what potential barriers there are to actually achieving it. And so yeah, that's my video. Thank you very much for listening.